Rant summer is here. Head on over to AJsRANTroom.com. We got all of your summer needs covered. From bathing suits to swim trunks, flip-flops and tote bags, towels, tanks, and muscle shirts. Oh, and you can't forget about the visors and the hats. It's lit. So head on over to AJsRANTroom.com and get your summer poppin'. You won't be disappointed. It's always lit over at AJsRANTroom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRANTroom.com today and get to shopping. You won't. Get to shopping. Tonight, we deep dive into Janet Jackson's appearance at last night's American Music Awards in our Turntable Rewind segment. We will have an uncomfortable conversation about white supremacy and the artist known as Beyonce. Apparently, you can't question her creative process as an artist who needs thousands of other artists to be a great artist. Anyway, we have a funny Leave Me Alone segment, an awesome throwback picture, and a beautiful inspiration point and more. Plus, we break down Trump's tax plan on the Rant Experience. Oh, Medicare is being slashed. Oh, Medicaid is going away. Y'all broke mother ain't gonna have no safety net no more, 'cause the big beautiful bill is about to strip all you broke mofos from mooching off the system. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell so soon. Gotta warm up. Let's be clear. Medicaid is not on the chopping block. Social Security is not on the chopping block. Medicare is not on the chopping block. What is on the chopping block is your laziness. Oops. It's really not my fault or any other hardworking American's fault that, you went through the last 6 presidents thinking you can just mooch off the system, and now there won't be any guardrails or any way to wean you off of it. And that's what y'all are really mad about. You're not mad about poor people, end quote, because you ain't on the system, so you don't really care. You just need a talking point. There are some really good things in the one big beautiful bill. There's some things I give a little side eye to, but it's nothing that's gonna like destroy the country. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, I just can't make it. I can't. It's like, but it is what it is. You make it work, right? But I want to go over a few of the changes in Trump's new tax plan. The first being, and I think this benefits majority of the middle class and all the people y'all claim it's not going to benefit, because all the rich people apparently are supposed to just pay all the taxes. They're supposed to work hard, earn all this money just to give it to people they don't know. That's I guess that's the epitome of being rich in America now, I guess. But anyway, the extension of the 2017 tax cuts, I think we all can agree on that. I think every American should be like, ooh, I like that. Actually, and then you'll have a lower tax rate across the board. So yes, even the rich people can get a tax break, y'all. Yes, they can. You know why? Because they work very hard just like you do. Now, it's not their fault you got to work 2 and 3 jobs and you decide to relegate yourself to the minimum wage of your state. That is your issue, not theirs, right? Cool. All right. Um, they doubled the standard deduction. There are other deductions, and then there's a $4,000 write-off for seniors for those who are crying about the no tax on Medicare. Social Security. Sorry. So, so the seniors will get a $4,000 break off. In this new tax bill, and I know you have a couple of Republicans in the Senate barking about this, and you had one Republican, you had two boneheads that didn't vote for it, but that's cool. Here's the thing: the Republican Party is not a monolith, just like the Democrat Party is not a monolith. There are some sensible Democrats, and then there are the boneheads. The boneheads usually get the biggest megaphones and microphones. So we understand this. Now, number two, now this doesn't affect the common US worker who works for tips. I don't understand. I mean, or overtime. If you're doing overtime, no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. But before we get into that, don't be this stupid.
They passed a bill for no tax on tips. They passed a bill for no tax on tips. Yeah, on cash tips. Mind you, this is not a law yet. This is just a bill being passed. On cash tips, baby, we already weren't claiming the cash tips. That wasn't an issue. We already said, we all agreed, cash tips, that goes in our pocket, never be seen again. In 10 years of serving, allegedly, I never claimed my cash tips. And I would only claim card tips because the system made me. Whatever the person entered for their card tips, it would automatically show up on my end of day report. And then every time I'd be like, and how many tips do you want to claim for cash? I'd be like, 0. Sometimes it'd say, you can't do that because you didn't make enough money, which is fucked because sometimes it was 0. And I would basically have to say that I made cash tips because I didn't get tipped enough in cards, even if I didn't make anything in cash tips. But regardless, most places, people tip on cards. When you said no tax on tips, you should have clarified no tax on cash tips. Because then we would have been like, man, don't matter anyway. Don't matter. We were all in agreement that we were already doing that.
This is the level of dumb you should never be in the United States of America. And then get on social media. And I figured out why she didn't take this video down, because the video is still up. I figured it out. She's getting paid for the video. So no matter how bad her take is and how stupid it is, she's still going to get the money next month from TikTok because the video went semi-viral. She got about 23,000 likes on that video. And I don't know how many views, but that's the game, right? So we don't give a damn if we said something boneheaded that we know really isn't true and we can't back up. We're just going to say it. And then if it takes off and it makes me some money, I don't care, So that's why she didn't take the video down. I mean, at the very least, she should have turned her comments off. But no, I guess that would affect the video engagement too. So she's just on there to get her little grift on. So hopefully she reports her TikTok earnings, especially if she's making a lot of money on that app. But dingbat. Cash means debit, credit transactions as well. You dingbat. We can't be this moronic in 2025. We really can't be this dumb. You are not going to pay that is where you really want the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. That's where you really want it. Where not the cash stuff you're getting, not the little things you might get from your boss, little cash tips you might get from clients and customers, or from customers in the restaurant or whatever industry you're in. But the stuff that's actually documented. Yeah, nobody's talking about the little $20 that you got slipped. Nobody's talking about that. Talking about the real money when you got about $60,000-$70,000 worth of tips that you now have to pay taxes on at the end of the year. That's what we're talking about. And so that does matter to the average server, to the average person in the hospitality industry. That does matter. So this whole notion, and then when she writes it off on her taxes next year, is she going to thank Trump? Is she gonna be like, "Thank you, Trump. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I was wrong." She never gonna admit she was wrong, but she's still going. She gonna write off them taxes, and she gonna write off them tips, aren't she? She sure the hell is. All right. Other things is this is another beautiful thing for middle class Americans. Car loan interest payments tax deductible up to $10,000. Why? I went over this before, but I'm gonna go over it again because apparently I guess you got to say things a few times for boneheads to get it. But why would that be an issue? Why would you not advocate for that? I would absolutely be on my tax advantage accounts, health savings accounts, 529 education plans, expansion of 529 deductions to homeschool, K through 12 education costs, and private schooling. Why would that be a bad thing for middle class Americans? That's actually a great thing for middle class Americans. Why you people are impossible. There's in extending the increase in the child tax credit. Does that benefit the 1%? Maybe there's something I'm missing here. Because the 1%, I don't think they're really that pressed about it, and they probably don't even look at their own taxes to begin with. They look at where they when one of their accountants say sign here. That's it. That's all they need. If they don't have a stamp of the damn signature already. So we didn't even got to consult you. We just stamp your name on the damn thing and keep it moving. And this, I love this one. The MAGA savings account grants a one-time $1,000 credit to kids born after January 1, 2025. Can y'all please explain to me where the suffering is, the travesty is, the trauma? Because you talk to some of these liberals and libtards and leftists, and you would think that this plan basically said the rich gets everything and the poor gets nothing. This actually helps. Now, if you mean enabling you to stay on welfare benefits and Section 8 for your lifetime, no, that's not what it. The government should have never encouraged that. It actually should have never been available for federal funding. Your state can do whatever it wants, right? But if you want federal monies, you got to follow the rules. So if the federal government says, hey, if you don't have a way to get people off the system, which is a thing you should actually be advocating for, then what are we doing here? You just won't get the federal monies. You'll get just enough to get your state by, but you're not going to get this exorbitant amount of money. So now California, you're going to have to raise that capital to take care of all those homeless people, all of those artists that are on perpetual food stamps because they can't book jobs. Yeah. So we have to encourage people to have a bit of a better plan, don't we? Interesting. No. We don't want to do that. We don't take accountability. We want to be responsible. We want everything to just be perfect. We want the government to take care of us. But here's the thing: when the government is taking care of you, it is costing other people. So when we want to trim the fat, that's what we mean. The abuse, the fraud, the bull has to stop. That's a great thing. You should want that for your country. But of course, y'all don't want that. Y'all want poor people to be poor for the rest of their lives. Y'all want people on the struggle bus forever. You don't want nobody to accomplish or achieve anything. Why? I don't know. You got to ask them. But here's another video from one of my favorite TikTok CPAs.
Trump's new tax bill will increase the bonus depreciation deduction back up to 100%. The last time this happened, people went crazy with buying G-Wagons, Lambo trucks, Range Rovers, and other 6,000-pound vehicles. But how exactly does this actually work? Well, the bonus depreciation provision allows you to write off up to 100% of qualifying business and investment property you purchase if you use it for a legitimate business purpose. And many business owners have used this to write off new equipment, new devices, machinery, and even cars and aircrafts to save a ton of money in taxes.
I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot better than you get $25,000, you get $20,000, you get $40 million on the government's dime. That sounds a lot better than what Cammie Harris was proposing. But of course, y'all don't want to hear me. Y'all just want to feel because y'all still suffering from that loss. Y'all still reeling. Well, I'm sorry. You got to take an L sometimes. You see, we took an L in 2020, right? And it was actually probably the biggest blessing. Y'all gave us the biggest blessing because we got a badder, bolder, stronger, smarter Trump. Y'all gave this man 4 years to re up. Not to mention, y'all threw everything but the kitchen sink at this man to stop him. And he was just, that's to be inspirational right there. To be bam, bam. We're gonna keep throwing these charges at you. We're gonna keep trying to bankrupt your businesses. We're gonna keep trying to subpoena your family. We're gonna, yeah, everybody's under a microscope, and you walked away president of the United States. That should be that's admirable, if you ask me, because most people would have gave up. Like I said, the moment that bullet went past my ear, July 13th, I would have been done. Y'all got this. I'm good, y'all. Have a great day. But this is a beautiful thing. This is a great thing. These proposals are great. But of course, you have a couple of bonehead Republicans, which is fine. I don't mind dissension. I respect dissension. It opens the conversation to things that you might want to take caution to. So there are a couple of Republicans on the Hill in the Senate who are like, well, this might, break this might, create more of a financial crisis and hurt Republicans in the long term. Stop the bull. Stop it. It's a lot of grandstanding. It's a lot of performative. And like Trump said, stop the grandstanding and get it done. You think he's going to do all of this to put us in a worse predicament down the line? There's a plan to all of this. But y'all want y'all little 3 minutes. Y'all want y'all little viral moment, which you're not going to get. So Senate, do the right thing. And then if you create and then if they make all of these astronomical changes to the bill, they got to send it back to the House. That's what we don't want. There's the astronaut. Oh my God, we need this, a slash. No, a couple of minor tweaks. Sure, we can still get it past the Senate without the filler, but we don't need the Democrats to get it passed. But if y'all start making all these sweeping changes, because we already know that the Democrats are going to vote against it, and then tell you the two things that they don't agree with and try to act like that's the entire bill, and you monkeys are going to believe it. In other news, here's a miserable fat lesbian with a little fear mongering for you.
So many marginalized people in our nation, millions of people, are going to go hungry. Millions of people are going to die early for not getting their medication. Millions of people are going to suffer as a result of the big, beautiful bill. So for God's sakes, call your senators right now and tell them, talk to some Republicans, get the ones you've known for years, and take them out to lunch and go, listen, dude, do you get this? Do you have a grandmother? Do you know what this is going to do to all the elderly in this country? Do you have any understanding of what's at stake? Like, this is the most blatantly corrupt thing that Mango Mussolini has ever come up with.
Oh my God.
Honestly. Very infuriating.
From her pearl castle in Ireland. That's where she went, right? Ireland, right? Her pearl castle in Ireland. Remember when Rosie O'Donnell was cool? Remember her talk show? Remember when Whoopi Goldberg was cool? Whoopi Goldberg was just like one of the coolest. Because she wasn't conventional in any way. And she respected all opinions and all perspectives. Now she's just this old bitter lady. And so is this other lady. Newsflash, Rosie O'Donnell. Millions of people already go hungry in this country every day, with or without the one big beautiful bill. Where the hell were you during all those times? You literally lived in Los Angeles at some point. Were you going down to Skid Row every week and helping people, passing out some of your big cash to people? Where you're down there feeding people? I'll go with a no. These people love to get on their soapbox when they don't agree with a Republican, but will not sit up there and call out that Democrat hellhole called California. Homeless epidemic. Didn't matter who the president was. The era. See, I'm up here reading Jay Lee's comment. The state is literally Democrat run, regardless of who the president is. It is Democrat policies that have put people in this predicament. It is these front-loaded ridiculously over. This is why you have to be overtaxed. This is why you're overspending. This is why you pay taxes on everything, because you won't cut your welfare state, because you have all of these people pulling from your social programs who aren't paying into it. Welfare has become a career for a lot of these people. Section 8 has become a necessity for these people for life. The only people I'm with that for is the permanently disabled and the elderly. Everybody else, I don't give a damn about your limp or your shrapnel in your leg. You can find a job. Stop playing with me. You're still able body. Oh, I pricked my thumb. I think I should file for disability. For what? What you need disability for? Stop playing in my face. Rosie O'Donnell, cut the grandstanding, the fake outrage, and you're going to write off all of the stuff in Trump's big, beautiful bill. Guess what? You're in the tax bracket that all of these people are allegedly mad at. You're so wealthy and successful that you didn't like who the president was and was able to go move to an entirely different country and live comfortably, live well. Just as you were living well in the United States, you were probably living better in Ireland. Oh, go tell it on the mountain. So stop letting these rich people gaslight y'all into thinking they're going to make y'all poorer. No. What we want you to do is be more productive. What we want you to do is get up every day and earn it. And that single mother stuff, yeah, Lynn, this single mother stuff, I get it. I understand. Again, social service programs were meant to be temporary. Temporary. What Bill Cosby said, the projects is not a place for 5 generations of the Johnson family to be born. That is not what the projects are for. It is a stepping stone. No one said you're going to go from the projects to millionaires. That's an anomaly. Not everybody's the Judds. But you can go from the projects to the lower middle class, from the lower middle class to the middle class to the upper middle class. You have the privilege, and I love, and I'm going to play it later in my turntable rewind, what Janet Jackson said in her speech last night. Stop bitching about things that you very well have control over, but you don't want to go through the process. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, there are days where you get up and you don't feel like doing it. I get it. Trust me, I do. But if you don't take the first step, the government's not going to encourage you to do anything else but continue to depend on them. It's like a single mom who depends on that no good boyfriend or side piece of hers, and then he gives her just enough so she'll keep coming back because he knows that she needs him. She needs me to pay this rent every month. She needs me to keep these lights on every month. So I'm going to give her just enough for the bills. I believe it was Angela Stanton King that said that. Like, no, I'm not going to give you enough to start this business and multiply that money. I'm going to give you just enough. Oh, kind of like LBJ. I'm going to give you just enough, but not enough to make a difference. I'm going to give you just enough, but not enough for you to have any impact or make a difference in your life and your bloodline. That's what the government is. That's literally what the Democrat Party has become and is for a lot of folks who are down and out. There's no road to prosperity. When you go to the social services office, there are other programs, but nobody cares about those programs because you're just there for stuff like food stamps or WIC. You don't care about these job programs. You don't care about this other stuff. Stop playing with us, people. The game, the jig is up. I ain't doing it no more. I can't do this no more. But let's move along here. So, what happened today in American history?
So, what happened on this day in American history?
So today in American history, in 1857, U.S. slave Dred Scott and family freed by owner Henry Taylor Blow only 3 months after U.S. courts ruled against them in Dred Scott versus Sanford. And in 1897, Dracula by Irish author Bram Stoker is published by Archibald Constable and Company in London. Now, are we ready for an uncomfortable conversation?
Rant summer is here. Head on over to AJsRANTroom.com. We got all of your summer needs covered. From bathing suits to swim trunks, flip-flops and tote bags, towels, tanks, and muscle shirts. Oh, and you can't forget about the visors and the hats. It's lit. So head on over to AJsRANTroom.com and get your summer poppin'. You won't be disappointed.
How did we go from this?
It's been many, many years. Just want to thank the Grammys, every songwriter.
To this.
So it took her 72 writers to write this album.
72.
Yeah. Put this into context. The last 3 Album of the Year winners, like Harry Styles and Taylor Swift, they had 5 songwriters, okay? Billie Eilish had 2.
Framing collaboration as an inferior form of creation and creativity is one of the functions of white supremacy. The idea that something is less valuable because more people contributed to making it is one of the tenets of white supremacy. And it is exactly the reason why so many people suddenly think diversity, equity, and inclusion are bad things. Beyoncé's album spans, combines, and includes multiple genres of American music, and the writers list reflects America. Writers like Danielle Balbuena, Cam, Ray, Pharrell, all people from different backgrounds coming together to make the album of the year, and somehow, some way, you find a problem with that. Cowboy Carter's win speaks to the power of diversity, equity, inclusion, and what we can all achieve when we work together in this country. And the idea that having less people as writers is somehow more authentic or better is flawed, because it has nothing to do with creation. Art is about bringing people together.
Well, that's bullshit. She missed it. She missed it. She totally missed it. It's not about the product. The product is good. It's a good product. Like Beyonce produces a good product. Like, but she is merely, for the most part, the name on the package. When you think of genius talent, and Taylor Swift is no genius to me by any stretch of the imagination, but there is a difference between 3 to 5 writers versus 70 something writers. What makes what I'm comparing it to is like a Freddie Mercury. If you look at Bohemian Rhapsody, it had 2 writers. When you look at Beyonce's Run the World Girls, there were like 15 writers to say, who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girl. You needed that many people to do that? But no, it's the sampling, and I get that too. That's a part of it. But even with the sampling, you could look at genius projects like Janet's, for example. Most of the time in the writer's credit of a Janet Jackson album, you see 3 names. James Harris III, who was Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Janet Jackson. Everything else is if they sampled something or used a sound from somewhere. But for the most part, it is those 3 who are the main contributors. Now, where people often have an issue with Beyonce, and again, I'm not taking away from the output because the end product is good, is how much of that process did she create? So if I'm gonna say this is a AJ production and AJ only put in 2%, is it really? Is AJ really a genius? is AJ really that guy? Is he him? I don't think he is. I think AJ is he produces a great product on the backs of a lot of people. And then we also know the things that writers have said about working with her. We also know the things that other creatives have said about working with her. You know, look at the song Irreplaceable. Y'all remember To the Left, To the Left? Neo wrote that whole joint, right? Hey, to the left, to the left. Um, so the first time they asked him about it, he was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's my song. You know, I wrote it, blah 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 blah." And then because they also said, you know, what do you think about Beyonce taking credit for the song? And he didn't really elaborate. He just made it, you know, he wasn't really. You could tell he was a little irritated by it. The second time he was asked about it, oh, now you know she did change that little melody part in the back, and she added those ad libs on the thing. So adding ad libs makes you a songwriter. I'm asking a real question. This is not white supremacy. And show me the tenets of white supremacy. The tenets of white supremacy is saying there's 72 writers on this project, so it doesn't seem it doesn't seem as authentic. It is what it is. Again, the product, the end result is great. We're not taking away from that. But all of the ingredients that came together to build that ain't building. You know who's another great example of immeasurable talent? Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton writes, she plays, she produces. And if you look at her credits, I mean, look at I Will Always Love You, for example. Writer, Dolly Parton. I would kill to be an heir to Dolly Parton. Because I remember when Whitney did the version of it, she was like, "Oh, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, you know, but the checks are backing up to Dolly's door. Whitney just got paid for the performance, and she might get a couple of royalties on the end of it, but that's pretty much it." Can we put that stupid comment up, Prince? That stupid comment. You know what I'm saying. You know which one I'm referencing. Moving on. Another example of immeasurable talent, and he's black, y'all. Ooh, Prince. Not you, Prince. The assless pants Prince. The man wrote, produced, played every instrument on the records. That's immeasurable talent. That is from him. Nobody can come in and say, "Hey, I wrote that lick," or I came up with that line, or I gave him those ad libs. No. Not to say that he wasn't inspired by things, but there's a difference to be inspired, and there's a difference to just not come up with it. You could look at any Beyonce album. Damn Cowboy Carter. Every Beyonce album in her solo career. 3 billion writers on every project. Is that immeasurable talent? She's a great performer. Whitney Houston's genius wasn't in writing. She wasn't a writer. Her genius was her vocal gift. You could write a song, but it's one thing for you to sing the demo. It's another to hand it to Whitney Houston. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but fun fact, you know that song, How Will I Know? How Will I Know? Da, 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 da. That was originally supposed to go to Janet Jackson. And we all know how I feel about Miss Jackson. But for the life of me, I am still trying to hear how that would sound. I'm still in my mind trying to process what that would sound like. Not that it wouldn't be good. If y'all don't leave me, who put up the Britney Spears comment? Yes, Mariah Carey is another example of immeasurable talent. This woman said on her, she didn't know nothing about the music business. She knew she was a gifted artist, but she knew from her first contract, she said, the one thing I must do is write my songs. She made it very clear because it's something uniquely her that somebody else can't bring out in her. She already knows she has it and she knows how to bring it out. You know? So it's not about her not being able to play an instrument. She knows she can literally sing every part and tell you what's going on. You know? She literally changed the way pop songs were sung. That's immeasurable talent. I don't know what Beyonce is, to be honest, but I wouldn't say immeasurable talent. She's talented. She's talented. But would I put her in a class with Michael Jackson? Hell, even Madonna, would I put her in that class? Prince, Queen. I mean, these are really, you know who's another dope, and she's not as big as everyone on the list, but Tracy Chapman. She's another example of a very, very gifted, immeasurable talent. Could you imagine what Michael Jackson could have done with those LED screens and everything that we got going on today? This man was this big to some people on a little stage in a country called Bucharest that most of our black asses never heard of in the hood until he did a concert in Bucharest. And you got grown ass men and women falling out over him. Oh my God. There was no social media. You had to go out there and work to get your product before the people. There was no digital downloads. You had to go buy physical albums. You couldn't just half-ass it. If you was in it, you was in it, and you was making a lot of sacrifices. Mariah literally sacrificed her voice. Let's just say what it is. She sacrificed her voice to be an international artist. Because most artists like that don't tour that extensively. And if they do, they usually use a lot of pre-recorded vocals. Uh Tony, we're gonna have to expand your understanding of what immeasurable talent is. Pink is good. You know what I respect about Pink is that even when she's doing all the flips and acrobats, she's still singing live. I will give her that. She sings live. She gives you a whole live show. Her body isn't just there, her voice is there live. So if she flips and hits a bad note, she flips and hit a bad note, but she's there singing live. I'll give Pink that. Pink is not untalented. She's a talented woman. She is. She's a very talented woman. But am I putting Pink in the same class with Michael Jackson, Prince, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Freddie Mercury, hell, David Bowie? I mean, these are just people who They're literally like almost like statues in my mind. You say their name and it's like, boom, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Tony, yes, until I found out what really happened with that masterpiece album of hers. So, and why she doesn't perform the original versions anymore. So yeah, I don't know about Michael Bublé. And yes, touring is a lot. It's a lot on the voice, the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit. Yes, Tony, no more requests. Appreciate it. So where's the white supremacy? Where's the white supremacy? Where's the supreme of the whiteness? Because we're critiquing Beyonce, it's white supremacy. Okay, that's how that works. They're critiquing the white supremacy because the white supremacy doesn't like or is pointing out an absolute fact. It's a fact. Beyonce has a lot of writers. I had another video, this one dude, but I'm not going to play that video, where he was just basically breaking down her song Countdown and how the reason why it has so many writers is because it went through all these different revisions and Beyonce picked out the best parts of all the revisions and put it together, and that's the song you have. But she didn't do the work. She laid the vocal. I'm sure she wrote a couple of lines to get a split. That's what they call it when you have a song. It's 100, and then you split it to figure out how you're gonna do your splits. So she can get a split. But is she really entrenched in the creative process, in the dog work that it takes to create a piece of material, piece of art? You know, one of the things I know pissed Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis off about Janet Jackson is when she put Renee Elizondo, her ex-husband, as a contributor to the Velvet Rope, and then Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was like, we never saw him. He was never part of the nuts and the bolts of songwriting, the crafting of a song. He was never there for that. So we don't know why he got a credit. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis don't care as long as they got their splits. You ain't messing with their money. So if you want to split, Janet, you want to split your split with your husband, go ahead. But he was not involved in the creative process of this at all, unless he wrote some lyrics on the back end and gave them to Janet. But I don't know. But he wasn't there. But enough of my rant. There's no white supremacy. Observation. This is why it's hard for Beyonce. This is why it was difficult for her to win Album of the Year. Because when you win Album of the Year, it doesn't just go to the artist, it goes to all of the writers. So now the Grammys have to print out 72 statues to give to 72 people whose names most whom we don't know, because they contributed in one way or another to a project, which is fine. It's also a way to put people on and get them to make some money, but nah, I don't agree with it. Because a lot of times a really gifted songwriter will come up with a song and then, speaking of Dolly Parton, here's an example. So Dolly Parton was going to do a song. Elvis was going to do one of her songs. I forgot which one. I don't know if it was I Will Always Love You was one of them songs. Jolene, one of them songs. And Elvis people called and said, yo, if you want Elvis, he going to need 20%. Dolly was like, my split? You ain't getting 20% of a song you didn't write. He didn't write the song. You didn't write a word. You didn't come up with a melody. You didn't write a guitar lick. You were not part of this process. You're literally coming down just to lay the vocal. That's it. And that's why they never worked together, because she wasn't giving up her split. She wasn't giving up her money. She wasn't giving up her publishing. For what? But that's how you get a Graceland. By cheating the system. That's how you get a Beyonce, by cheating the system. Y'all think this is by mistake? Again, great product. Beyonce is a great product. She's a great Lady Eloise. Lady Eloise. She's the name on the package. She looks great. She works hard to give you a great production. And it is okay to critique her. It's okay. You think I have to defend all the time? Janet Jackson can't sing. Janet Jackson, meanwhile, nobody's remaking her songs. If she can't sing, why y'all not singing her songs? Because they're difficult to sing, you dingies. Because it's not just about how much power you have in your voice. It's about the story you're telling. You know who's a brilliant example of being able to tell a story while they Faith Evans. Faith Evans really draw. Dolly Parton does that too. Faith Evans, they're really like storytellers with their voice. Maybe using like 3% of their voice. But you're so drawn in because vocally what they're doing is masterful. So it's not about having the biggest vocal range and being able to hit all the notes on the scale. That's not what it's about. Beyonce can't hit all the notes on the scale. She's a singer. She's a gifted singer. Am I putting her in the class with Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle? We could have that conversation on another day. But moving on, this is our turntable rewind. All right. 2003, 22 years ago in these streets. And this is the Billboard Top 10 on this day in the year 2003. Coming in at number 10, Kid Rock featuring Sheryl Crow with Picture. Do y'all know that song? Because I don't know that song. You know that song, Prince? I don't know it. Coming in at number 9, Three Doors Down with When I'm Gone. Do y'all know that song? Because I don't know that song either. Hitting in at number 8 is Evanescence with Bring Me to Life. I think I know the song. Is that Wake Me Up Inside? Okay, cool. Then I know that song. Coming in at number 7 is Justin Timberlake with Rock Your Body. And we all know the most famous part of that song. Gotta have you naked by the end of this song. Titty! Why is Justin Timberlake so big? Like, why is he over my face? Moving on. Rolling in at number 6 is 50 Cent with In the Club. Go, 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 Shaw. I'm gonna move over. It's your birthday. Go, shouty. It's your birthday. We gonna party like it's your birthday. We gonna sip Bacardi. Like, okay, moving on. No, number 5 is Fabulous with Can't Let You Go. Anyway, number 4, I Know What You Want. Baby, if you give it to me, I'll give it to you. You know what you want. You know I got it. Anyway, Busta Rhymes and Mariah Carey featuring Flip Mode Squad. That was my joint. That was my joint. Fun fact about that song, Mariah Carey was hoarse that day in the studio. And so she couldn't really like sing. So they had to layer her vocals. And but Busta was like, yo, you know what you gotta do, Mariah. You gotta give me that note. You gotta give me that whistle note. And so with all her hoarseness, she found a whistle note. So there's a fun fact about that song. Now, number 3 is, I don't care what y'all say about number 3, but Robert Kelly's Ignition. I don't care what y'all say. That's it's a dope ass song. And you know my favorite lyric in that song? Running her hands through my fro. There's just something sexy about running her hands through my fro. You just sitting there getting your head down, and she just, admiring the texture of your luscious locks. Anyway, rolling in at number 2 is 21 Questions by 50 Cent. 50 Cent, double appearances when 50 Cent was hot on these Billboard charts. I see in the year 2003, 22 years ago. And hold up, rolling in at number 1. And I didn't know Sean DePaul was this big. But Sean DePaul get busy rolling in at number 1 This explains the being. I knew who Sean Paul was. I know his songs, but I didn't know he was this big, like in pop, like on the pop side. It is what it is. Note for next week: these graphics should not be this big. And the number one movie in the country in 2003 was Bruce Almighty, featuring Jim Carrey. Prince already know what I'm gonna say. I never saw it. The film grossed $484.6 million against an $81 million budget. So, needless to say, everybody who invested was very, very happy. Why is the Bruce Almighty gone? It should still be up there. I'm still talking about Bruce Almighty. When released in American theaters on May 23rd, 2023, Bruce Almighty received mixed reviews from critics, but was a box office success. And its opening weekend, it grossed $86.4 million, and that was Memorial Day weekend. The film surpassed the industry pundits when it beat The Matrix Reloaded the following weekend. Woo! It was the fifth highest grossing film of the year of our Lord, 2003. Now we've come to the most fun part of this segment, because I get to smile and talk about one of my favorite artists and one of my favorite people in the industry. And some people don't like her, but I love her. And so last night at the 2025 American Music Awards, the beautiful and lovely Miss Janet Jackson performed. She did a 6-minute medley of her viral hit, Someone to Call My Lover, and her smash from the same album, All For You, which is the title track. I was excited. She looked amazing. Look at her. Oh, look at the baggy look, the simple aesthetic. She wasn't like out there acting all crazy. She came out there and showed y'all this is how you do it when you ain't got nothing to prove. This is a woman that ain't got nothing else to prove to y'all. She don't care. The 5-time Grammy winner received the Icon Award, who CBS and Dick Clark Productions please refer to as one of the most influential entertainers of the modern era. Ahead of accepting the honor, Jackson took the stage in loose-fitting jeans, a white puffer coat, and white tee, and kicked off her set with her 2001 classic, Someone to Call My Lover. She then transitioned into a funky rendition of her 2001 hit, All For You, which included a dance break remix with a striking guitar solo. Yo, Jan did the thing. I mean, roll it again, Prince. Roll it again. I ain't done talking. This woman is... Oh, Janet. Janet was it. Every little pop chick you see today, look at this woman and she's there. Oh, yeah, little stuff. First of all, this is what happens when you have a rogue producer. Anyway, and of course, oh, do you need to swap Prince? Okay, so while he swaps videos, because we ain't got all that advanced newsroom technology, so he has to swap out the video. So I can go to my favorite part. So we can't play all of it because we'll get a strike and all of that stuff. But my favorite part of her acceptance speech was this.
My story, my family's story, it's truly an American story. This would have only happened in America.
Woo! Yes, baby. Can we play that again?
My story, my family's story, it's truly an American story. This would have only happened in America.
Only in America. Now you know the haters who think she's MAGA was like, oh, she's throwing bones to the MAGA. Anyway, and now it's time for an AJ throwback. Woo! Woo! All right, roll it, Prince. Pause it, pause it, pause it for it. Flip. Oh, see, you know. That's what happens when you got a rogue producer. Nah, we didn't rehearse this. But I just want to get on his nerves since I'm difficult to work with. So this was on set. This was like a 90s themed dance film that I did for one of my friends at the time. I haven't spoke to them in years, but this was a fun set. And of course, you know, I liked my outfit. You could play the video all the way through now. I like the video. I like the outfit. So the outfit was, see, that's the outfit busting. See my jeans, see my flannel. You know, I was giving West Coast vibes. I was feeling it. Pause, 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 pause. And then it was just a fun day. And it was also a time where I was floundering in LA. So when she asked me to be a part of the project, I was like, oh, I'll do it. I'll take it. Let's go. Let's do it. And so it was fun. I couldn't find footage from it because I think she took it down because this was, I don't know how many years ago. But it was a fun shoot. I like my fit. And those, fun fact about those Jordans that I'm wearing, I wore those Jordans so they split. I used to dance in them all the time. That was my favorite dance shoes. And I wore them and I kept putting white shoe polish on them to keep them fresh and cute. But eventually they split and then I couldn't dance with them anymore because they were broken. But they lasted a very long time. Great quality product made by Chinese slaves. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So now let's shimmy along to you got it, Prince. Pause, pause. Wait a minute. So you the drop you forgot earlier, you played just So remember, Leave Me Alone is already included in the next video. Oh Lord, this is what happened when the lowest dose is pushing the buttons. But he's done good so far. Let's a round of applause for Prince. He's been doing a great job so far. You know, he literally got the job last minute. So well, this is what we call stretch while the technicians get it together. All right, we're ready. All right, so let's roll into Leave Me Alone.
So just leave me alone. Honor of being my wife.
Boy,
why you got your back all out like that?
Bernie thought he was Beyonce.
So I created a video and I stated that I don't have any sympathy for anyone who is not black. And now I have a bunch of pink people who are in my comment section telling me that I'm hateful, I'm racist, I'm evil, I'm filled with hatred simply because I'm choosing not to care about them. I want you to let that sink in for a second. These people are literally calling me evil because I'm choosing not to have compassion for them like I'm supposed to. What have those animalistic beasts ever done to make my people want to have compassion or sympathy for them? What have they done to earn our compassion? They expect it. They feel like they are entitled to it. They are entitled to our respect. They really crack me up. And all they are actually proving is that they are begging for our acceptance. They're literally mad at me for not liking them.
Girl, shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that?
Alright, y'all, we gonna pour it in here, you know, do a little dance while you in.
Close. You gonna put a whole thing in there?
Oh.
Now close it.
Alright, y'all. And if you want, you can do a little dance.
Back up.
If you want. Shake it up. You know?
Oh my God.
Always listen to a black woman. All right, now we're going to shimmy along to our inspiration point, which comes, excuse me, from Pastor Philip Anthony Thomas. And let's, I'm sorry, Mitchell. Where did I get Thomas from? I'm sorry, Pastor Mitchell. I'm sorry, Pastor Mitchell. Roll it.
I hear people trashing me on TikTok. Oh, I'm a hellfire and brimstone preaching. He's aggressive. I'm reading to you the words of the one you call Lord and Savior. What are you talking about? I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm reading to you the words of Christ. I'm reading to you the words of the apostles. Oh. Watch this, watch this. I'm actually teaching you the scriptures. We've heard a lot of sermons, but we have not heard the scriptures. A lot of conferences, no scriptures. A lot of podcasts, no scriptures. A lot of books, no scriptures. A lot of gatherings, no scriptures. A lot of preaching, no scriptures. No Bible. Just the opinions of men, Google articles, 3 points in a poem. Jesus is fluffy. He don't care about your sin. Tear up the church. Do what you want. Live in sin. Preach and sin. Sing and sin. Serve and sin. Lead and sin. Do whatever you want. Fluffy, 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 fluffy. Half of us going to hell. Woo! When I get to glory, and there are going to be people behind me that says, thank you, Pastor Philip, Anthony Mitchell, for preaching to us the raw, unadulterated truth. Thank you very much for telling us the truth for all those years. I made it because of the word of God. Somebody give him praise in this house.
I ain't got to say anything. I mean, he laid it all out perfectly. But I will say it was the one thing that I couldn't figure out what was missing when I was part of that church in LA, because I was new to this whole Christian thing. So I was like, I kept seeing like the people who grew up in church and stuff. They would be like, well, I don't really know if I belong here because I'm really not getting filled with the word. It feels like inspirational speech, and I didn't quite know what they were talking about at the time. So I'd be like, what? He's great. Oh my God. Let me tell y'all something. This is how dumb I was. Yes, Pastor Torrey Roberts, I'm talking about you. Pastor Torrey Roberts, I bought 10 copies of your book. And I sent it to my friends and my family back in New York. And they were all like, thank you. Context? Like, why you sending us all this book? And I was just like, man, I want my money back. It wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't like a life changing book. It was, and I don't even know if you really wrote it, to be honest, but it is what it is. You live, you learn, you make other choices. Anyway, shout out. Oh. Ah. Yes, Torre is TD Jake's son-in-law. He's Sarah Jake Roberts' husband. Which is also funny because when I got to that church, he was just getting divorced from his first wife, and I didn't understand why people were in uproar about that. Now I know, but then I didn't know. Anyway, and maybe I'll go into that one because I did do a church hurt podcast episode, but it was really short. It was like 20 minutes. Maybe I'll, now that we got this live format going on, maybe I'll, have Prince push some more buttons, and I'll listen to some old Torre stuff and tell all of my stories from one church. What is it? It started out as One Church LA, and then it became One LA, and now it's just called One. Okay. Anyway, shout out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for always holding me down. Shout out to Prince for producing today. Did a great job. Thank you very much. Shout out to my Rant fam. Thank y'all for supporting me and holding me down. Make sure you roll over to AJsRANTroom.com. We got 8 new shirts for you rolling up into summer. We also got the Rant Summer Collection and a whole bunch of other things for you to choose from. So we work very hard. That's how you really can support us at this point. And shout out to my Trifecta Hour fam. We will be live Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on these here YouTubes. And to some of you, this might be just another podcast, but to me, this is the next chapter in purpose. And I thank you for lending me some of your time. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you chose to give me a few moments of your day. And for that, I'm grateful. And with that said, I'm out. I'm out.